Hi, and welcome to this week's edition of Timothy, my son, as we look at 1 Timothy chapter 5, verse 16, which says, "If any woman who is a believer has widows in her care, she should continue to help them and not let the church be burdened with them, so that the church can help those widows who are really in need." In some ways, this seems like an odd way for Paul to conclude this section on aiding widows who are in need, but it was most likely in direct response to some of the things that he knew were going on. Presumably, there were women who were helping widows, but when the church started caring for those in need, they were saying, "I guess I don't need to do this anymore." The application, though, is wider than just women helping other women. It's anyone helping anyone. I guess the application is that we have a personal responsibility to be charitable toward others and not just through the church. I know that when we were pastors in Kamloops, our church was doing a lot of work among the marginalized, the homeless, and those with addictions. Quite often, we'd see some of them on the streets panhandling. On more than one occasion, I'd ask, "How is business today?" And their response was typically, "Pretty good, 2 bottles." And that begs the question, what's the best way to help someone who's asking for cash on the street? Give them cash? Go to McDonald's and buy them takeout? Take them into McDonald's and eat lunch with them? Point them to the closest food bank? Tell them that you already support the Salvation Army or the United Way? It can get complicated. If they tell you they need food and you give them cash, do you really believe they'll spend it on a loaf of bread? Our practice, whether personally or through the ministries we've been involved with, is never to give cash. If someone showed up at the office needing gas money and it sounded legitimate, I'd take them to the gas station and buy them a reasonable amount of gas. If they needed food, we had a pantry that could help. Occasionally, especially at Christmas, we'd provide all the fixings for a turkey dinner at home, along with a voucher for fresh vegetables and milk, etc. But we also knew that the voucher could easily be turned into cash for other purposes. We knew we were being taken advantage of in some cases, but as I've said before, if you're not willing to get burned occasionally, you'll end up helping nobody. Assisting strangers is one thing, but what if the person in need is someone you know, such as one woman supporting widows, like Paul mentions here? Presumably, there's a relationship here that's been going on for some time, and now the helper is being encouraged to continue that relationship as well as they're able. In that way, the church, which has limited resources, will be able to help others who are in need. It really is a stewardship question, isn't it? Timothy, you're the leader in a church. Demonstrate good stewardship of the resources that are being entrusted to you. Care for those who really are in need in an emergency. Care for those who have an ongoing need to make sure they're not in want. Encourage those who care for others to continue to do so. And in so doing, give the believer a pretty straightforward way to minister to others. Practice generosity, but don't be stupid.